For today's match, the Imperial Knights are bringing a Knight Crusader, a Knight Atrapos, 6 Warglaives, Sisters of Battle squad, split in half by a Sisters of Battle Immolator. Orks are bringing a 10-man squad of Flashgits riding inside of a truck, a solo mech also riding inside of his own truck, Zodgrod leading a squad of Gretchen, a lone squad of Gretchen, a Death Dread, a Kill Rig, and finally 4 squads of 20 boys, 3 led by a Pain Boy and War Boss, and 1 led by a Weird Boy. For today's battle, deployment is Hammer and Anvil, primary mission is the Ritual, and mission rule is Stalwarts. Pre-game actions, Zodgrod and the Gretchen will scout onto the center objective. Top of turn 1 and the Orks are going first. They draw Marked for Death and secure No Man's Land. Marked for Death targets are the 2 large knights and the green Warglaive. Start of the command phase and both Gretchen squads fail to farm a command point. Going into the movement phase, Zodgrod and the Gretchen will spread out along the center objective. Truck with the mech in it will move up towards the center. Kill Rig will also push forward ahead of the truck, and the mech will disembark from the truck. The fastest boy squad will move forward. The truck loaded with Flashgits will start driving forward towards the center of the board. Yellow squad of boys will start making their way up the board as well. Warlord and the green boys will start doing the can-can to screen out the backfield. At the end of movement, the mech will buff the Kill Rig. Kill Rig will start the shooting phase, lobbing a bowling ball over at the sisters, picking one up. Rest of the shots go into the Immolator, bring it down to 8 wounds remaining. Unfortunately, it does fail a hazard check and takes 3 mortals. Flashgits fire everything they have into the Immolator. They do just enough to take the Immolator down. 5 sisters get out, but only 4 survive. Zodgrod and the Gretchen fire into the sisters that just disembarked and manage to take down 3 of them. Second truck will fire its pop shots at the remaining sister and fails to score a wound. That's going to end the turn for the Orks, scoring 5 points for securing both the objective they created and the one in the center of No Man's Land, and discarding Marked for Death for a command point. Bottom of round 1 for the Imperial Knights, and they will draw Storm Hostile Objective and Marked for Death. Marked for Death targets will be the boy squad in the back, the Gretchen guarding the home objective, and the truck nearby. In the command phase, the Crusader will bondsman the red Warglaive. Start of the movement phase, and the sisters are going to advance to screen out a potential charge and protect the Warglaives. Red Warglaive will reposition to get eyes on the truck. Green Warglaive will do the same thing while also moving further away from the boy squad. Gray Warglaive will follow suit and move over as well. Gray Warglaive will move out and over towards the center of No Man's Land to create an objective and protect the Crusader. Warglaive will push entirely into the building to get line of sight on the Warhorde as well as tempt the charge round 2. Atrapos will reposition to not only avoid a charge but be able to see both the Kill Rig and the truck. The lone battle sister will bravely retreat. Red Warglaive with Meltagun goes into the Kill Rig, bringing it down to only 4 wounds remaining. Boneglaive into the Kill Rig, and it manages to finish the job. Both the gray and the red Warglaive fire into the truck with the baby Meltas going into the Gretchen squad. They burn a command point on a damage roll, but between the 2 of them, they manage to take it down. Flashgits will emergency disembark behind obscuring. Green Warglaive into the Gretchen, and it picks one up. Atrapos fires its lascutter into the truck and manages to pick it up. Singularity cannon into the boys, and it takes down 2 of them. Crusader is up next. It did not move, so its weapons have sustained hits 1. Fires the Stormspear rocket pod into the mech and everything else into the boy squad. And down goes the mech boy. Thanks to some fantastic save rolls, the Crusader only manages to down 8 boys total. Orks will then spend a command point on Go Get 'em to allow the squad to react and move into melee with the Armiger. Oops. Time for ongoing combat, and the Orks are going to spend a command point on competitive strike, allowing them to reroll wounds. They bring the Warglaive all the way down to 1 wound remaining. That will keep them locked up next turn, thank goodness, but they do lose a single boy on the crackback. That's going to end the turn for the Imperial Knights. They'll score 5 points for Marked for Death and discarding Storm Hostile Objective for a command point. Top of round 2 for the Orks, and they draw Extend Battle Lines and No Prisoners as their secondaries for the turn. They decide not to WOG this turn, which means you have plenty of time to smash that subscribe button. Thanks to sticky objective, they control 2 and will score 10 points on primary. Start of command phase, they will sacrifice the Grot Orderly to get back 3 Orks, and Come On Lads to get back an additional 4, which means the Knights only managed to effectively kill 2 boys that entire round of shooting. Flash gets move on to the objective as well as opening up fire lanes. Zogrod and the Gretchen will move everyone onto the objective. Boy Squad will move towards the center of no man's land and create another objective marker. Since the home objectives don't matter at the moment, the second Gretchen squad will move forward. The 20 boys that were in reserve will come out onto the field. Knights will rapid ingress a Warglaive. Into the shooting phase, the boys squad in melee will fire its sluggas into the Warglaive. It survives. Flash gets into the Bone Glaive, taking it down to 10 wounds remaining. Gretchen fire into it, scoring a wound. Boys fail their 9-inch charge onto the sisters, and so will go to ongoing combat. Wounded Warglaive into the boys manages to kill 2 of them before they take it down. It does explode, causing another one to go with it. The squad will consolidate back onto the objective. That's going to end the turn for the Orks. They will score 5 points for extend battle lines and 2 points for no prisoners. Bottom of round 2 for the Imperial Knights, they will draw Defend Stronghold and Secure No Man's Land as secondaries. They control 1 objective and will score 5 points on primary. Crusader will bondsman the Bone Warglaive. Legion of the Damned Warglaive will move in on the boy squad. Bone Warglaive will move in support as well as creating an objective. The Atrapos busts through the wall, succeeding its battle shock test. It is able to touch both objectives, but unfortunately cannot see the squad of boys. Crusader will shift to cover the objective, get better line of sight, and move further away from the squads to the north. Warglaive will cover the home objective for Defend Stronghold. The gray and green Warglaive both shift to avoid the oncoming green tide. Sister Squad will attempt to adjust the screen. Knights will readjust the movement from the Atrapos using the pivot to put it on only 1 objective, but it is able to tow on the template to see the squad of boys. Atrapos fires into the squad of boys, managing to down only 2 of them. Orks spend a command point to reactive move into engagement range with the Warglaives. In a big brain move, they position themselves where the Atrapos cannot charge or heroically intervene. Warglaive into the squad picks up 2. Second Warglaive picks up another. The Crusader will fire everything into the Flash Git. The Orks will spend a command point to go to ground with them. The entire squad gets picked up, but unfortunately the objective was already sticky from the squad of boys earlier. All 3 Warglaives fire into the Gretchen squad and manage to pick up 4 of them. Sisters of Battle will split fire due to line of sight, and they manage to pick up 1 Gretchen and 1 boy. As mentioned earlier, between the wall, the position of the boys, and the base of the Warglaive, there's no good charges for the Atrapos, so we move into ongoing combat. Orks burn their final command point on a competitive streak. 9 boys hack into the Warglaive, bringing it down to 6 wounds. Everyone else swings into the second Warglaive, also bringing it down to 6. 1 clapback picks up a boss knob. Second Warglaive manages to pick up 2 Orks. That's going to end the turn for the Imperial Knights, scoring 5 points for Secure No Man's Land and holding on to Defend Stronghold. Top of round 3 for the Orks, and they will draw Bring It Down and Behind Enemy Lines as their secondaries for the turn. They will call the Wog. They control 3 points and will score 15 points on primary. They burn a command point to regenerate both the boss knob and a boy. They immediately get that CP back thanks to the Gretchen farm. Boys will sticky yet another objective. Gretchen scooch over to make room for the boys. Boys make a whopping 11-inch advance to have the Crusader in their sights. Gretchen will move in order to charge the Battle Sisters. With a 12-inch advance, the boys say, "Our fight's not with you," and go right past the Battle Sister screen. Lone Gretchen squad make it onto the objective in no man's land. Lastly, the weird boy will de-jump the boys, bring him deep into enemy territory. Death Dread will prance its happy way onto the battlefield as well. Sluggas take a wound off the Warglaive. Boys take down the lone sister, and the weird boy fires into the Atrapos, managing to knock off 5 wounds but taking 3 off his hazards. Death Dread into the Warglaive, scoring 2 wounds. Orks get the mission rules slightly mixed up here, and the boy squad that advance do create an objective, but it doesn't really impact the game. Gretchen make their charge into the Battle Sisters. Orks avoid the dual charge, and everyone makes it into the Crusader. The Atrapos will not heroically intervene, so it does not get tied up in combat. Both the Death Dread and the Weird Boy squad fail their charges. Orks spend a command point on a competitive streak into the Crusader.
Power plus 5 reroll. With 5.
And after that onslaught, the Crusader goes from 22 to 1. Gretchen pick up the sisters. Time for ongoing combat. The Warglaive will swing first since that is the one that's engaged with the war boss. It fails to down a single orc. Boys clap back, bringing the Legion Warglaive down to 2 wounds remaining, and the Warglaive down to 3. Clapback also fails to take down a boy. That is going to end the turn for the Orks. They will score 4 points for having 2 units behind enemy lines and hold on to bring it down for next turn. Knights will score 3 points for successfully defending their stronghold. Bottom of round 3 for the Imperial Knights, and they will draw Assassination and Area Denial. They will immediately recycle that for a new mission, drawing Containment as their secondaries. Both Wounded Warglaives failed their leadership checks, which is unfortunate for Containment. Due to being bracketed, the Crusader does not AOC the Orks, which is fine because it fails its battle shock as well. They control only one objective thanks to the Atrapos and will score 5 points on primary. The Atrapos will do an about face and go after the Weird Boy for both Assassination and Armoured. Silver Glaive into the Weird Boy. There's no good charge for the Warglaive to help the Crusader, so it is going to go around the corner to get eyes on the Weird Boy. Red Glaive will move back but keep line of sight on the Death Dread. Red Glaive into the Death Dread and it picks him up. Atrapos into the Weird Boy squad, picking up 9 boys. Green Warglaive picks up 1, and the Silver Warglaive picks up another. Both Warglaives in melee manage to pick up 2 boys. Crusader will fire its rapid-fire battle cannon into the Gretchen on the point and only takes down 1 of them thanks to a ton of 5-up saves. Everything else goes into the squad it's in combat with, managing to take down 9 boys total. Going into charges, the Green Warglaive fails its charge, but the Silver one makes it in. Atrapos makes its charge. Knights will spend a command point to tank shock, and it picks up 5 boys. Warglaive into the squad, it takes down a single boy. The Atrapos will epic challenge, taking down the Weird Boy and also managing to pick up the rest of the squad. Ongoing combat, the Orks pick up a Warglaive, it does not explode. Second Warglaive also goes down and it fails to deadly demise. The Crusader manages to stomp out 2 boys on its way out. It does not explode, and then the boy squad will consolidate onto both objectives. That's going to end the turn for the Imperial Knights. They'll score 5 points for Assassination and discard Containment for a command point. Orks did take down 3 mechs, and so they will score 10 points for Bring It Down. Top of round 4 for the Orks, and they will draw Area Denial and Recover Assets as their secondaries. Orks will sticky 2 more objectives. They will score 15 points on primary, and additional 3 points for hitting that subscribe button. Come on lads, and Gra Orderly return 7 boys to the squad. Gretchen failed to farm a command point. In the movement phase, the boy squad will screen out that objective. Gretchen will backpedal for recover assets. Zodgrod and company move back onto the objective. Warboss and his entourage move behind enemy lines. Squad that downed the Crusader goes after the Warglaives now. Boys fire into the Red Glaive, failing to score a wound. It's charge o'clock, and the Orks make a dual charge into both the Red and Green Warglaives. Orks bring the Red Warglaive down to 7 wounds remaining, and the Green Warglaive gets brought down to 2 wounds remaining. Both Warglaives will strike back, downing 2 Orks. That's going to end the turn for the Orks. They will score 5 points for Area Denial and hold on to recover assets until next turn. Bottom of round 4 for the Imperial Knights, and they will draw Overwhelming Force and no prisoners for the turn. They are honored, so will generate 4 command points this turn and now have a 5-up Feel No Pain. They will score 0 points on primary. They will activate Shoulder the Burden on the Atrapos. Start of the movement phase, and the Atrapos will move back towards the boy squad they've been trying to take down the entire game. Silver Warglaive will adjust to make its charge unfailable. The Atrapos fires into the squad in front of it, taking down all the boys. This is unfortunate because now it has to dual charge the characters. 2 Warglaives into combat, and they take down 2 boys. Warglaive makes its charge into the squad of boys. Due to the terrain, the Atrapos can only charge the Pain Boy. Knights will tank shock here, hoping to take down the Pain Boy so the Atrapos can pile into the War Boss. Unfortunately, they score just 1 mortal wound. It then proceeds to make short work of the Pain Boy in combat and elects not to consolidate onto the objective or the War Boss. Knights will use Squire's Duty on the squad of boys. This will give all their sweep attacks 2 damage. The Silver Warglaive will pick up 6 boys. Moving to ongoing combat, the boys will pile in and strike back to all 3 Warglaives, scoring wounds but failing to down a single one. 2 remaining Warglaives will fight back, taking down 3 boys and wounding the knob. That's going to end the turn for the Imperial Knights. They'll score 4 points for no prisoners and the full 5 points for overwhelming force. Orks will score the full 6 points for recovering assets. Top of round 5, and the Orks are going to score 10 points on primary because they've already maxed it out. Our players are going to call it here, making the final score 87-37 in favor of the Orks. Thank you so much for watching. We really do appreciate it. If you like our content, please do consider sharing it with a friend. But until next time, as always, happy gaming.